They thought the Leonberger had decided the garden was his. He hadn't. He had decided it wasn't safe. Kaiser was 4 years old, 130 pounds, the kind of dog that made strangers cross the street and then immediately regret it once they saw how gently he moved around the children. He had lived with Nadia and Gregor Brennan since he was 8 weeks old, and in that time he had shown no territorial behavior, no guarding, no aggression. He was, in Gregor's words, the most politely enormous thing they owned, which made the back garden situation impossible to explain. It started on a Tuesday in September. Petra, 18 months, pigtails, the confidence of someone who had recently figured out how to run, headed for the sliding glass door to the garden. Kaiser came from the kitchen. He moved sideways, not fast, positioned himself between Petra and the door, and stood. Petra said no at him, which she said at most things. Kaiser didn't move. Nadia intervened and took Petra to the front yard instead. She noted the behavior. She didn't think much of it. By Thursday, it was happening every time Petra approached that door. Not aggressive, no growl, no bared teeth, no raised hackles, just a 130-pound dog materializing between a toddler and a specific threshold and refusing to yield. Nadia was a secondary school teacher. She had read about resource guarding and large breed dogs. She called the vet, described what she was seeing, and was told to contact a trainer. The trainer came on Friday afternoon. He observed Kaiser block Petra twice, spent 30 minutes in the garden, found nothing unusual and said he may have developed a spatial fixation. It's manageable. Here's what to do. They followed the protocol. Kaiser continued blocking the door. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. On Saturday morning, Gregor decided to do a proper inspection of the deck boards he had been meaning to check all summer. He got down on his hands and knees with a flashlight. He found the yellow jacket nest 6 seconds later. Not a small one. A colony of what the exterminator later estimated at 4,000 insects built into the space between the deck joists, hidden from above and from any standing angle. Accessible only to someone crawling under the boards or pressing a nose to the ground at the right spot. Yellow jackets in late September are at their most aggressive. A nest of that size disturbed by a running toddler jumping on the deck above it would have produced a swarm response in seconds. Petra had a previous allergic reaction to a single bee sting at 11 months that had required antihistamines and monitoring. She had never been tested for full anaphylaxis. The exterminator's name was Hector Vela, 21 years in pest control. He came out Saturday afternoon, assessed the nest, and said, "You're lucky you kept the little one off this deck. That's a bad nest in a bad spot. She goes running across those boards, they come up through the gaps." He paused. Kid's size, 1 sting might not be enough. 6 or 7 is a different conversation. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. They sat with that for a long time afterward. Gregor thought about the trainer and the spatial fixation and the protocol. Nadia thought about the 7 times she had tried to nudge Kaiser out of the way and take Petra out herself. Once she had actually managed it, Kaiser had followed them out and stood at Petra's heels the entire time they were on the deck, something she had read as more guarding behavior. He had been standing between her and the gaps in the boards. Kaiser had been detecting the colony by scent for 6 days. He had no framework for communication beyond his body. He had placed his body in the only position available to him, and he had held it there while 2 adults called a trainer, observed the behavior, followed a protocol, and almost moved him aside to let the child run onto the deck. After the nest was treated and the deck was safe, they let Kaiser out first. He walked the entire deck slowly, nose low, methodical. He stopped at the place above where the nest had been and inhaled for a long time. Then he went to the edge of the deck and lay down in the afternoon sun. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. Subscribe so you never miss the next one. Petra ran past him 3 times before lunch. He watched her go each time. He didn't move to stop her.